Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, young lady? What specifically, did you want to inquire about specifically? Because it's a big question with an even bigger answer. So there might be some poignant, plateaus we can hit to get a better understanding. But what is it that you're not crystal clear about?
I'm not crystal clear about what is the point of it all. Like everyone has an end goal. I'm just not sure of what the end goal is here.
Okay, so that's the thing is the end goal for the powers that be at the moment on this particular planet. Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay. So did you see the video where I talked about it in What If, and I put everything in a hypothesis?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go on that template, right? The end goal for the people that have the power to pull something like this off are utilizing the government, the media, the police, which is an outgrowth of overseers from chattel slavery, and they're utilizing the technological advances that they have been given and suggested that they use from off-world intelligence that they have made certain alliances with. And we are at the culminative state of a long list of about 20 years of a very advanced study of what people will do, what the probabilities are, and what all of the sidebar things that they know people are going to do if certain things are enacted, right? So it's been going on for over 20 years. There's also been a lot of pilot programs, and this is phase 1. And the end game is to depopulate the planet by at least half. If there is no divine intercession can only be caused by enough people demanding it. Which means if someone demands to have divine intercession, they have to use their free will to enact that, to engage that. If people passively accept what they are assaulting us with, and they don't ask for divine intercession, it will not happen. So the end game is not yet determined. And this is one of the reasons why for the past 7 years, I have been working tirelessly to get people to say that they want to, just speaking about the power that the spiritual world has if you turn to it. And if you use if you decide to use spirituality as your main operating system, as opposed to the human operating system, which is very minimal, which also is the reason why I've done my best to illustrate where the true power resides. But not enough people are allured to that. Most people are seduced by darkness and limitation, and most people readily accept limitation without questioning it and choosing not to live by it or be commandeered because of it. And there's not enough people on the planet at this present moment who are turning to divinity consciously to say, we're not having this. We do not accept this. We don't want to have it. There doesn't have to be a revolution. There doesn't have to be an upheaval. There simply has to be a request from enough people that are praying to the creator of all. And if not the creator of all, then they could pray to about, again, certain known gods that we know about and ask for their blessing. Lord Shiva in particular, because certain gods are looking over this planet, but again, they don't have a reason to involve themselves. One of the things is that a lot of times we have been, and I'm talking about earthling humanity, has been stalked and pariahed upon for thousands of years. And every time we get to a certain point where humanity looks like it's going to turn a corner, there's a major assault that happens to stamp that out. And this is why you have had the Inquisitions, You've had plagues, you've had extinction level events, you've had all kinds, you have certain versions of the human form that have completely been taken off the planet. Neanderthalensis and the hominid have all been completely taken off the planet and traded in for something else. And we're the byproduct of a genetic manipulation that we're pretty much operating under their system, the human default system by design. But there's still a level of divinity that's present that most people are taught not to use or taught not to even believe exists. And religion does not allow you to basically plug into something that's far greater. So the end game is to scare the hell out of people and lower the defense shields of a lot of people. And it's a 5-tier assault. It's not just a virus or 5G or, it's 3 more things. And then there's a list of other things that they will eventually unleash on people. And if people don't, divinity really is the only resource that we have that's strong enough to stop this in its tracks. Because again, we're living in a world that is owned by these people that have all the power, and they have the power to tell the media what to report. They have the power to tell the government what to do in terms of martial law, if that ever becomes a thing. They also have the power over all of the technology to spray the chemtrails and BPH and GMO and all of those things. All of the alphabet agencies like the NRA and the FBI and the Food Drug Administration, that's another thing that they've done over the years, is deliberately tell people the wrong things to eat that will lower their defense shields and, compromise the body, because they want people to die faster by eating certain foods that they say are healthy and are not. So all of these things, it is a multi-tiered attack that's been well thought out from over 1,000 years ago. We're now in the revelation or the revealing of what that looks like. People choosing to align themselves with divinity is the best case scenario.
Now, I'm going to say you just sparked 15 gazillion more.
Yeah, go for it.
I feel like you're a Dr. Strange in where you've seen a gazillion outcomes of what can be if we don't take certain precautions now. And my thing is, I know we got several different agendas playing out, as you just mentioned. And to me, depopulating the planet my mind is not wrapping around just depopulating the planet. Like, is that really just, we're just going to take half of you off?
Yes. And let me help you to understand it, okay? So, do you remember when I posted on my Facebook group it might have been about 10 people from a supposed dating site, and those people looked subhuman. They kind of looked scary, inbred, or a microcephalic person. Right. So those people, when you look at them, when you look dead on at them, how did it make you feel when you look at them, or how did you feel when you actually saw them? Let's be honest about it.
I was like, that ain't right.
So when you look at those people, there's something very off and not evolved about those people. The best way that I could describe it, fair to just observation, would be they look subhuman. Most people don't want to live amongst subhumans. When you look at the elitist, the mindset of the elitist, they have more money than anything. Their concern, obviously, is not about money. They could crash. All of the systems could fail today monetarily, and it would mean nothing to them because they have all of the resources already. So this is not about money, right? And it's really like, again, I personally respect life, but if I see a roach anywhere in my dwelling, I'm going to kill it. And I'm not going to feel guilty about it at all, because roaches are filthy, nasty, they carry diseases, and I know I keep my home clean, and it does not belong there. There are people running this planet that see everyone else who is not of the ilk and caliber that they are on. They literally see humanity, the rest of the humanity that does not have any kind of power, they see them as roaches. And you are the scourge of their aberrance. They don't like the rest of anyone. That they feel like you have nothing to bring to the table. You don't even have $100 billion. Why are you even here? Bill Gates, as much money as he has, is one of their minions. The reason that they are motivated to depopulate the planet is because they have been told by certain off-world races that we can turn your world into a playground. We can turn your world into something that would be more advanced by 3,000 years in 1 year. But we cannot give you that kind of utopia if you don't get rid of at least 1/3 of your population, because you are overcrowded. You couldn't have the kind of playground that we have. Now we're talking about technology that we know nothing about. Time travel would probably be on the lower tier. We already have that. And Donald Trump is a direct manifestation of time travel, as was Barack Obama. They all have been through the time tubes. They've traveled in time, and they've known certain things about where we are now in 1980. And I've talked about that in many other seminars. So what we're looking at is these people, again, they realize that the rest of humanity doesn't have the power to stop them. There's nothing more that they can gain by the existence of the weak, dumb, powerless roaches that earthling humanity represents. That's literally how they feel about the commoner, the citizen, and the denizen of Earth outside of their particular enclave. And they feel like they have the divine right to rule this world because they can trace their bloodline back to beyond the Sumerian kings list. And that is hundreds of thousands of years ago. And if you're not part of that bloodline, and they don't see anyone else that's even remotely related to that bloodline as part of the consequence of why you should still be here. So they want to turn this into a playground. It's really no different from an entire planetary gentrification. Certain parts of Brooklyn, I remember Bed-Stuy was wild. Brownsville was wild. It is no longer like that. It's very tame. They got all of the poor people out of the neighborhood. They stopped the Section 8. They stopped redlining the banks stopped redlining the neighborhoods. They allowed a certain affluent community to move into the neighborhoods. And once you start seeing the bodegas start selling higher quality goods, that's how you know that gentrification has begun in the neighborhoods. Because the bodegas are the first ones to get the notice that we're going to have a higher clientele of people, a better quality of people, according to the banks. Move into your neighborhoods, the rents go up, and people start getting evicted. And that same apartment that was, 4 bedrooms that a family of 8 lived in for 15 years, that was subsidized Section 8, that's been cut off. And they're able to charge 4 or 5 times as much for another well-meaning family that could be of any nationality or ethnicity. And that's what's happening now on the planet. Your immune system is only part of the overall agenda. It's also knowing who to turn to. And there's really nobody on the planet that can be turned to. Who we should be turning to is beyond and outside of this planet and aligning ourselves with divinity. And what that affords us is the choice, because, a lot of bodies are going to fall. A lot of people are going to perish. A lot of people are going to die. And if you die, at least you have a choice to take your hard drive with you into a more everlasting form, a solar form, a Merkaba form, which would be the golden chariot. And all of these things I've offered. So people in Galighticus will be straight, even if they end up transitioning or transcending. When they get to the end of their last breath, they will have options to choose from. Whereas other people, they will have to start all over again if they decide to come back, and most people will, because they were not finished with their journey. And they're going to miss out on 95% of all that they have accumulated. Whether you're 95 or 5 years old, a very small amount of that will be retained. No other questions?
I mean, it'll take us off this topic.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. So, when Lucy Taylor, I believe that's what her name was, posted on the Facebook, and she was drawing a dot. And I watched some of your older videos, and I was like, so are you just not going to say that was you? I mean, if you were Jesus or not. Essentially, that's what I think that she was getting at, and maybe something a bit deeper. My mind's a bit fuzzy. Time it is. Okay. And then you said, in regards to her post, the video that she was referring to, that was a dead ringer. What she was talking about. So I'm like, are you saying you was Jesus? Is that what we doing? What we saying
No,
around
I've never said that. You've been around Galighticus for 3 years, right? And I think you've been to quite a few seminars, and I'm going to say this very clearly, and I don't mind saying this because this will be public. But one of the things that I would say, very little of what I know am I at liberty to say. But there are things, it's really like this. Do you remember the movie Fahrenheit 9/11? One of the things that I can tell you about that movie, it was masterful. What was masterful about it was he never once said in that movie who was responsible for the Holocaust of 9/11. He never did say that. You know what he did do? He did better than that. He gave you all of the proof. He showed you the cast of characters. He basically took you by the hand, proverbially, took you up to the wall with all of the handwriting on it, all of the evidence, all of the proof, and the motifs, and brought you right to the wall and says, look at this. Now, if you could walk out of that movie theater or walk away from looking at that documentary without knowing full well who was responsible for 9/11, you would be, putting it politely, you would be less than intelligent. And one of the things I've done for the past 7 years is I'm doing the same exact things. There are certain things, again, that I cannot say because if I say it, it would be infringing on free will. But I can give you the proof. I can show you who I am. Have I not done that?
You have.
Have I not illustrated clearly certain things that other people on the planet, from Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle, T.D. Jakes, Joel Osteen, take your pick, Dr. York, none of these people have produced physical evidence by accident or consciously of the things that I have shown and illustrated. There's another video where you can literally, and there's the last video where there's a God in the sky, literally, of optical acuity is prevented from looking at a God head on. It's not possible. You can only see it in the third eye. All kinds of things. No one else on the planet, all of these authors of books and gurus have manifested that. What more do I need to say? So my thing is, I can show you better than I can tell you. And yet and still, people need me to say something that I've said 1,000 times more stronger through my actions and through my works and everything else that I've done. If you look at the video that was referenced that says, do not watch this video, listen to what the young lady says once again and look at what happened and put it together with everything else that you know to be true, and you will have your answer. And by the way, it's a lot deeper than the question that you asked.
I know.
And it's really no different from what she was my student for years, and she kept asking me who her divine parents were. And this was at a time where I would tell people who they were, but then I learned not to do that. I stopped telling people straight on who their divine parents were. You know why? Because people didn't believe me. I would come to them in their dreams and introduce them. Hey, this is Kuan Yin. This is your divine mother. People would wake up out of the dream and refuse to believe it. And I got a little salty behind that. I said, I'm wasting my time. 90% of the people that I come to in their dreams, I'm showing them. I've already shown them what's going to happen. Some of the people have talked about it in videos. Like Jennifer had a very clear revelation of something that is threatened to happen. She talked about it in a video. Lots of other people. It's really powerful. But, you know, again, people are not putting it. And the reality is, here's the thing. I could still say, hypothetically, that I am such and such. I could say to the world, hey, I'm howdy doody. You know, the only thing that would happen is people would laugh. People would say, oh, that's crazy. Yeah, we saw that. All of that is camera tricks. None of that stuff is real. And that would be that. People will still have questions, and they would have 1,000 more questions. But even outside of the works, I think the works should speak for themselves. And the only reason that I mention that list of people, because these people are the world-leading authorities in spirituality, and the Dalai Lama is supposed to be a world in divinity. The Pope, the Dalai Lama, right? And think of all of the other highest-ranking people. None of them have ever shown you a miraculous occurrence. None of them. So do they have the power, or do they deserve to be on the plateau that they are on? Yeah, there's some extra.
I'm sorry, one quick question.
Sure.
I don't know what's going on, but every beacon I have gotten, I've had to send back.
Right.
Because for whatever reason, except for one was my fault, totally my fault. They break. I was like, and I said, is there something I need to do or not do? Because I don't want to repeat the same thing when I receive the ones that are coming.
Right.
Even the segment one that I have, the black one, that one broke. And I was sitting at my altar doing the 21-minute ritual that you gave us, and it just fell off the chain.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, are you serious?
But you have to realize that, okay, so, you know, we've updated the information on all of the beacons, right? And one of the things that it says quite explicitly, and I really hope people take the time to read it, but I know you know this, we want people to treat the beacons like a delicate, wet piece of tissue paper. You don't want to play handball and baseball and kickball with the beacon on. We don't want to be working out and sweating up a storm at all with the beacon. There are certain things, you know, we want to treat it, don't want to be in the midst of bellicose energy. And if we are, we want to tuck in the beacon. We want to show it the utmost respect. And I know you're doing that. So to give you an example, you were at your altar doing a 21-minute meditation. It's showing you that it is protecting you. And it, you ready for this, has broken something that was vexing you. And it is showing you every time something has broken that was in your energy field. We broke it. We need to confirm to you that we've done it. And that's what the Cosmic Beacon does.
Let me exhale on that. So good.
Yeah. You still have your active connection. You're also in the midst of very complex fields that, remember this, okay? You're one of the people, without any question, that your divine parent has said, you need to have this, you need to have that. And you don't really make any bones about it because you already have the mandate downloaded into your consciousness that does not make you question the need for you to have what you have. You have 3 beacons, correct? Yes. So your divine parents have mandated because they've seen the energy of your life and what you have to contend with. And that's why you've been motivated to have it. Remember, they chose you to have it. And once you see it, you automatically align with it. And that is outside of your reference. You're just a puppet in that equation. But it's doing what it was built for you to be done in your life. And it's going to keep doing that.
I feel so renewed.
You should. You should.
I have no more questions.
Okay. All right, beloved. All right, so listen, we'll talk soon. It's good to hear your voice. All right, and see you in the chat.
All right, thank you, Shremaster. Love you.
Okay, love you too. Bye-bye.
just in case you thought it was a fluke.